Hey everybody, I just wanted to let you know that I know that we've had some audio problems over the last couple of days, but I did want to let you know that I have figured out the source of the problem. I've fixed it. Unfortunately, I did not get a chance to fix it for this episode. I figured it out during the episode. So you'll have to bear with me for one more episode of kind of audio. Phil sounds great. The interview with Nick Koss sounds great. I'm a little tinny, so just giving you a heads up. Enjoy the show. Looking back at North American Eternal Weekend.
Next on Eternal Durdles.
Hey, I just want to give a quick shout out to all of our Patreon supporters out there. Thank you to the Durdle Maniacs. If you want to be a Durdle Maniac, go to patreon.com/eternaldurdles and help support the channel. It keeps things going. It keeps things updated. Thanks so much for watching. On with the show. Hello and welcome to Eternal Durdles. I'm your host, Zach Clark, and with me as always, Phil Bleckman. Phil, how's it going? Welcome back from Eternal Weekend.
Welcome back from Eternal Weekend to you, Zach. I can't tell you how much fun it was to spin Sensei's Divining Top again.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, you did actually get to play in the Vintage event, so you were able to play Sensei's Divining Top.
I played in the Vintage event, and I played 4 Sensei's Divining Top. I played Glaring Fleshraker combo. My deck was absolute horseshit trash, and I had the best time.
Yeah. I look forward to trying to play in the Vintage event next year. I think I didn't want to set myself up for like a double big tournament this year because I was really focusing on Legacy.
Yeah.
But I think next year I'll be a little more in the mind to play both formats, and maybe I'll double top 8. That'd be great.
Maybe you'll win both events, Zach.
That would be great. Now, if you're looking for what's that? Go on.
Nobody's ever done that, right? Nobody's ever won both events.
I think Eric Virgo, friend of the show,
in the same year.
Yeah.
Oh wow, we got it. We got it. Eric, come back on.
I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure back to back, like day 1, day 2.
Even if it's not true, I'm cool to like live in that lore and just create the history that Eric is the only person to ever win both events on the same weekend.
That may have been before you were on the cast, actually. That I think Nate and I brought him on for that. I might be wrong though. It's been so long. But Phil, we're gonna have our personal like recaps of like how the event went for us on the next episode. But this episode, I just want to talk about the event. Kind of a cool down. Talk about like how like just the broad strokes of it all.
Absolutely. Yeah, we both got in and did 4-day badges. Oh, there's a doggo.
Nope, there's Moo.
Excuse me. So we both got in and did all 4 days. I played Vintage, and do you want to start there? Shall we start with the events, or shall we start with what the organization of the hall and everything?
Eternal Durdles is proud to be sponsored by Moxfield.com. Moxfield is the best deck building website on the internet. You can find all of my and Phil's decks in links below, including decks from this episode. And if you do, you'll be directly supporting the channel. Yeah, let's talk about the event itself. Let me just start by saying, my flight was a little delayed, so I got in late on Thursday. But I assume you were there relatively early on Thursday. How was the line situation? Like, how did everything go?
So I was told that there was going to be a line like around the corner when it came to getting our badges and stuff, but I didn't encounter that at all. I just walked straight up to the person, got my badge, got the security stuff, and then like went straight to it and like walked around the vendors. It was great. The vendors always have like all of their old school and all their power just like laid out up front because they know that this is the place to sell it.
This is the place, yeah.
This is the time, and all the different vendors had different things, and it was cool this time around where when I was like looking for something, I remember, I go around and I'm always like, hey, I'm looking for altars. Do you have any? And one thing that was nice was one vendor was like, oh no, we don't, but you should go over there. So they were like touting for other vendors. Yeah, which was really nice to be like, oh, we don't, but you should go to the other vendors and give them your business. So it was nice to see that there was like solidarity amongst the vendors too. Yeah. And something else that was also cool to see the vendors is the vendors selling to each other.
Yeah,
that was a cool thing that like I didn't know vendors just casually do at these events, where like if they have buyers for certain product that they don't have or whatever, they'll just go and trade their stock for like the other vendor's stock. It'll be like, hey, I have a buyer who really wants like this version of this Mox or whatever, and I don't have anymore. So here's a bunch of cards. What's your rate on them? let's trade them in because I want that Mox because I got a buyer for it, you know.
Yeah.
And that was cool to see like in action, as like to see a little bit behind the scenes of the vendors doing different stuff. And also the other thing I learned about vendors is when it comes to vendors, everything is negotiable. I saw a dude who he had like I couldn't tell what the card was, but it was in like a slab of some kind. And he's like, hey, he goes up to a vendor that I was at, and he's like, hey, man, I want to sell this. Like, are you interested? And he's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, what do you want for it? He was like, I'm hoping to get 500. And the guy was like, I just don't know if like I want to pick that up right now. Like, I couldn't see what it was. But then the guy who had the slab was like, how about this? I'll give you my contact info. You put it in your case for the weekend, 4K. And if it sells, you get, we'll split it 50-50.
Yeah.
So he was just like, I'll just give me the free space to lay this out. And if it sells, you get it, you get half. And if it doesn't, whatever, I'll just come back and pick it up. And the vendor was like, okay, cool, sure.
Yeah.
You
Do
know,
we know if that's sold?
We don't know if it's sold. I don't know if it's sold because I don't even know what it was. But I was just like, oh, like the fact that the vendors were just sort of game for that type of stuff at this kind of event was really cool.
Before we get into the event itself, before we get into Thursday and talk about like, you know, events that you can play in and stuff like that, I do have an interview with Nick Koss where we talk about the logistics of setting up the event. So I want to cue that clip right now.
Hello and welcome to Eternal Durdles. We are here with Nick Koss. Nick, how are you, man?
I'm doing good.
Doing
good.
So yeah, let's talk about, we're here at Eternal Weekend. And you know, we wanted to reach out to you before. We actually wanted to reach out to you just before everything was announced for Eternal Weekend. And so you know, one of the things I you know wanted to do is shed some light onto your process and how everything goes on your end.
For sure. And as you might imagine, we're talking now because when you first reach out, right before we go public with everything, you can imagine
Pretty busy
on my end. Yeah, a lot of like a duck, always paddling underneath the water. Yeah, the planning process for an event like this is complicated. You know, it needs to not only fit in with all the other organized play offerings that Wizards offers, but the other Eternal Weekends as well. There's the EU Eternal Weekend and the Japan, I guess Japan Eternal Weekend, and a lot of times coordinating it with that, and then coordinating it with venue availability. We love it here in Pittsburgh, and so figuring out when to hold it here on a weekend that is not Christmas or Thanksgiving, or you know, the week before Thanksgiving, it works for a lot of people, but you know, definitely a lot of different factors that go into that aren't always readily apparent.
Yeah.
And it's also my company's schedule. You know, we not only run this, but we're also heavily involved at PAX Unplugged in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
We're heavily with a lot of different events over the course of the year. And
the end of the year, you know, just like, you know, just the holidays and stuff. Yeah.
I own a retail store. Black Friday is a thing.
Yeah.
You know, next week is going to be busy. And for my team, it's actually a very fun 3 weeks. You know, we have the Eternal Weekend. And then obviously there's Thanksgiving weekend. And I don't know about you, I host Thanksgiving for a bunch of people.
I do too. Yeah.
And then my brick and mortar store, Top Deck Games, we have Black Friday is when we open. So not only is it Black Friday, but it's also our anniversary.
Oh, yeah.
Year.
Okay.
So we really wrap that into something special.
Weekend, yeah.
And then the next weekend is PAX Unplugged. And so 3 weeks in a row is it's a fun time of year. And then we get a break as we approach Christmas.
Yeah. That's
comparatively. But no, really happy to sit down with you and find the time and just talk about what you're interested about.
Yeah. So how far out do you determine what venues you use?
Well, so it depends.
So for Eternal Weekend specifically.
It depends year to year because depending on what Wizards has in the works, sometimes we get more notice, sometimes we get less notice. As things change with their organized play offerings, sometimes they have to square all that stuff away. And so it's later notice than anybody would like, Wizards would like, that I would like, that convention centers would like. And sometimes we're at the mercy of them figuring out their, you know, as they've developed Magic Cons, as they're developing this next series
Spotlight
of the Spotlight series, you know, you have to take all that into account. And something that people don't see, so they don't give a lot of credit to, is the organized play department at Wizards is incredibly busy doing a ton of different things. You know, there are thousands and thousands of game stores, and the same organized play department that works with partners on premier events like Eternal Weekend or MagicCon or the Spotlight Series also works with those thousands of game stores.
Yeah.
Or the event organizers that want to run smaller, more regional events. And so they're working around the clock. And you might go, oh, it's MagicCon, Spotlight Series, and Eternal Weekend. That's 3 things. No, they're doing this stuff in Europe. They're doing this stuff in Asia. Yeah. They're doing this stuff everywhere. And it's a small team and a dedicated team, and they're awesome. And our point of contact is awesome. Everybody there is awesome. But they work around the clock. So I tend to give them a lot of leeway and understanding as it relates to, okay, if we're announcing with less lead time than we like, that's better than not announcing at all. You know, they provide so much support for this event, and we're so thankful for that they give us a chance to come out and play Legacy and Vintage in a way that really doesn't get to happen much otherwise. And you know, they see it as important, so I see it as important, and I love it. And no, they're tremendously helpful. And sometimes it's tough because I can't always speak to the intricacies of the planning process, and it's not always stuff that's publicly obvious, you know, why there's delays or why they're, because again, they plan around set releases, they plan around, like, there's a million different variables. But no, they truly spend a ton of effort and time and energy into trying to make sure these events are great, which, looking around, I'm sure you can agree.
Yeah. Looks like there's a lot of people here. They're having fun, you know?
No, absolutely.
One of the more controversial things that happened this year is there was no painting.
Yeah, no, that was a big change. And you know, we're certainly having meetings, and you know, when I was informed about that, you know, everybody involved is upset that wasn't able to happen this year. It's such a special, cool thing. You know, I hope that we can find a way to make it work in the future years, because everybody agrees it's an awesome thing. But you know, some of the things that I was educated about is there's a tremendous demand on Magic artists year round.
Yeah.
You know, we've all seen there's a lot of sets being released. There's a lot of secondary products being released, like all the Commander stuff, all the different levels of products that aren't just this booster set or this set release. Think of all the secret layers, think of all everything that's going on. There's such a flurry of awesome stuff out there. Every one of those cards has to be illustrated.
Yeah.
Every one of those illustrations has to be planned, reviewed, administrated. And, you know, they really opened my eyes to the ridiculous workload, in a good way, that artists are under in general. And when you go, oh, it's only 2 paintings. Well, no, it's actually 6. You know, because again, the European event, the Japanese event, they're not going to have it be this event have paintings and other events not. That's not fair to anybody. And, you know, we're looking at different ways to try and make that work. And we all want to make it work. There's nobody saying, no, that was dumb.
We're
and
done
not
with
cool. And right. Yeah, no, everybody loves it.
That's great.
Everybody acknowledges it's definitely one of the most unique prizes out there. And people have always loved it and received it positively. So we're definitely looking at ways to continue to do that without impacting artists' abilities to accomplish the projects that Wizards has them doing on the day-to-day for all of their product releases throughout the year. And artists, I love all of you. Scheduling is not your strong suit.
They pay people to do that for them.
You are creative people
yeah.
and amazing people. And we all know deadlines are optional. So I certainly understand where they're coming from, where they're trying to fix some pain points in a different part of their program. This is one of the things that was just causing some problems for them throughout the year. So it makes sense in that aspect. Obviously we all wish it could be done easily, and we're looking for ways to bring it back.
Yeah.
Both me and our contacts at Wizards who are on the same page. But
to that end, is there anything special you guys have planned this year for the winners?
You know, so we had some, in my mind, pretty cool trophies produced. They're not magic paintings. They're not officially, you know, anything as awesome as that. But you know, I felt it was appropriate. You know, we increased the prize purse $10,000 for each event. You know, I felt I didn't want to, and that comes out of my pocket, but I felt like it was appropriate because it has to be replaced in some way.
Yeah.
And I am unfortunately not a magic artist, or I would have painted something and you would have had a Nick Koss original on your wall. But
I mean, it's still an option. We've got time. We've got time.
But no, I tried to find a way to replace it. And really, the good thing is for the majority of these events is players are really coming out here. My experience is they want to come out here, enjoy themselves, play the game they love in the way they love to play it. And not a lot of players are super concerned about, is fourth place $500 more than last year?
We come to play. Yeah.
Exactly. There's not a lot of people who are trying to min-max value at this event. Everybody's just really happy to be here, having a good time. We try to provide a great experience and really have that be the focus of what we build in terms of our offerings for this weekend, and really just have everybody have a great time.
All right, 2 more questions. Have you thought about getting a premier pre-modern event going at
So I love pre-modern. I do.
Giant fan?
And we've definitely talked about it, and there's definitely a lot of interest. And as the format grows, we're definitely looking at that for next year. I don't think it's going to be to the level of a championship event. You know, that's really just vintage and legacy.
MonsterCon exists, right?
Exactly. But no, I could see some sexy event offerings for next year, because that's really, in my mind, you know, the golden age, right? You know,
Yeah.
as I grew up and played Magic competitively, it was a lot of extended. It was a lot of kind of that decade of cards.
Sitting on the floor at the Deptford Mall in South Jersey, you know, like that's where it's at.
Exactly. But no, a lot of fun, and you know, we're finding ways to make that special is tough, because we want it to be really special. We don't want to just be like, oh, there's a pre-modern event, come play, because everybody, you got to make it exciting.
Yeah.
So if you have any suggestions, reach out to him and tell him what you want to see, and he'll reach out to me. But or just contact us directly. We love feedback, and we'd love to hear what you guys want to see here at Eternal Weekend.
All right, final question. Is Pittsburgh locked in for next year? Are we thinking about maybe Philly, maybe Pittsburgh?
So, you know, finding a great venue is such a challenge. And I think everybody can agree this venue at Pittsburgh is wonderful. It's an exceptional venue to work with. It's a reasonable venue financially. They're really easy to work with. They really love us coming out here. They support us in a bunch of different ways. They make our life easy. And making your life easy is important. Now, for those of you who don't know, I live outside Philadelphia. I live 10 minutes from the Pennsylvania Convention Center.
Love that Reading Market.
And 10 minutes from the Reading Terminal Market. But the way that convention center works, it's very expensive. It is a heavy it's a heavy union labor presence, and you know, I absolutely support unions when it comes to protecting a specialized skill and protecting the money that people should make. But I don't necessarily support it when they want to charge me $7,000 for someone to sit in a chair and do nothing.
We had
an anecdotal example of that.
And we had that whole situation with Honorog,
sure,
you know, as well, which
the other year
about. Yeah, we had a whole interview with him about that.
But no, and so it's tough to overcome that sort of thing, especially when it presents financial challenges and logistical challenges. And you know, I've gone back to them over the years, and we work with them and do some smaller stuff with them. But for a large scale event like this, I really do love Pittsburgh. I love the city. The hotels work with us. The convention center works with us. It's a beautiful hall. It's on the river. It's designed by Frank Lloyd Wright. It's a great convention center. And no, I'd love to keep hosting it here.
Cool. All right. Well, Nick, thank you so much. Thanks for enlightening everybody.
Happy to sit down with you and just talk a little bit through the process, and happy to be on camera and share things and hope that everybody's excited and hope that we keep doing it and keeps getting better. And yeah.
Well, comment below if you have any questions for Nick. We can forward those questions to him. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you.
What an interview, Zach. What an interview you got there with Nick Koss.
Yeah. It was great to get insights from Nick. One of the great things about Nick Koss, I don't know how many of you folks know this. He is also from the South Jersey area where I grew up, so we know a lot of the same people. So we were chit-chatting after the interview and stuff like that, and we just know so many of the same people
from the like local comic book scene of South Jersey, it was just like a cool conversation to have, and it was a great like just getting a chance to like be like, hey man, like you were a hard guy to get a hold of, and he's like, let's do an interview right now. And I was like, give me like 2 seconds. Let's do that. Like, we went and sat down, and he was, as you can see, he was like super gracious with his time. He had a lot of answers. I didn't have to coach him that much, which was great. Like he just went to it. He had things to say and said them. And, we have a little bit more insight into the logistics of setting up these events and how incredibly hard it is to schedule all this stuff with Wizards and with the venues, and I hope that puts a little color onto it for people who get upset about like not getting more information sooner.
Yeah, I mean, I feel as though this event, even at the beginning of every event that they were prepared to receive feedback, because they had announced that there was on the back of the things that each player got, that there was a QR code that would transition after the entire event was over to a site where people could go to offer their feedback for anything that they wanted to do. So like the fact that they were proactive about sharing that, I haven't gone and like given any feedback yet, because literally we landed late last night. But the fact that they are like aggressively asking for that and how to make the event better. I mean, one thing they did have that I wish that next year that they'll expand and that I'll share with them probably after this episode, to be honest, is I had my water bottle, and there were 2 different water containers at the opposite corners of the venue hall that you could fill your water up in. And I was just like, man, you guys just need more of those. Get more of those. Have them scattered throughout the place, so I like don't have to go all the way to the far side of the convention hall and then hustle back over to my match. Which because one thing that was really good about this event was their turnover time on rounds, really good.
Yeah,
really good.
Agreed.
I mean, rounds went to time, like all that stuff. But like when the next round was up, it was up. We were moving. Like there wasn't. This was the first time there wasn't a delay. I think this is the first event where Melee didn't crash.
Yeah.
You know, like I always anticipate
the
that
companion app worked. Like wild, right?
I will say that is one thing where it's like if you don't need Melee, like I don't know if there's another thing without Melee, because like for the side events, it was Melee and then Melee connected to your companion app, so you needed 2 different apps to play a side event challenge, and then for the main event, it was all in Melee. So I don't know if there's a way to like not use Melee.
There is definitely a way to not use one of them, and that is by signing up in person for the events.
Yes.
For the side events, I just like went up and was like, my name, here is the thing, and then it just went to my companion app immediately. So if you're having trouble signing up, go to the counter and sign up that way, and then you just have to deal with the companion app for the side events. For the main events, it was it was Melee, and if you're an Eternal player and you played Eternal Weekend before, you know how that works. For the most part, it works well enough. I do wish that I could figure out how to change my name so that all my opponents weren't calling me Durdle Magus as soon as I sat down. I'm sure you got that too with Force of Phil.
Well, I think if everybody sat down and said, "Are you Mr. Magus?" I think that's great.
Yeah. It did make a couple people think that I was on a Blood Moon deck, which is hilarious because that is I would sooner die. But so like we get you got in there Thursday, and there's tons of side events on Thursday. I wanted to play in the early bird special. I didn't get there on time, but it seemed like everything ran smoothly. There were plenty of vendors. Even the convention, like that convention hall food, not that bad, honestly. Like
I didn't eat any of the convention hall food, but you are not the first person to tell me that the convention hall food was actually pretty good.
I had a pretty sweet pulled pork sandwich, man. A big cookie, some waffle fries, and the waffle fries were pretty good. This isn't your normal convention fare, so good on Pittsburgh for having a pretty decent convention food situation. It's not Philadelphia. We can't go to the Reading Terminal Market down the block, but this wasn't terrible.
I'm actually excited for next year because I had multiple people as they saw me eating, like, I just have like protein bars throughout the day to like, have something. And multiple people, when they saw me eating them, they were like, dude, the chicken tenders are actually pretty good and not convention shitty,
Yeah. All right. Well, I think, personal records and stuff aside, one of the things I wanted to do, and Phil said he was going to do this next year because I didn't tell him about it until afterwards. I just want to list all the people that we met this weekend that I had the mind to write down. This is really our first year where like we've been on the internet long enough that people can look at us and be like, I know you, you know? And so we got a lot of people that came up and said hi, you know, thank us for content and stuff like that. And I'm just going to go down the list real fast. If you were on that list, please comment below and you know, just like, you know, help us out. So we have Richard, Vic, John Lee, Sam, Jake, Tron is bad, Claudio, Krista, Mora, Sebastian. We saw Michael Mabson. We saw Billy Mitchell, Zohar, Scott, Adam, Chris, James from MTG Punks. Saw TK. TK was there. Dom, aka Island Delver Go. Matt, Zach with an H that I played in one of my rounds. Brad, Try, Mike from Goal Audio, one of our editors. That was awesome to finally meet Mike in person. Will, Daniel, Matthew, Mark from our Patreon, Joe, met several Joes, Justice, Mike Wood. Mike Wood asked me something, Phil, and that is because he plays this. He works at a school and he plays this for students. Could you guys cuss less so that he doesn't get in trouble at work? Your mic is out. Yeah.
Wow. No, my mic ain't out. I was just bleeping out the curses that I was just saying. So I was trying to take the feedback immediately.
We have been working on that. It's something we're working on, and we're going to keep trying to work on it. Because,
and by working on it, I mean he's saying that Phil was not working on it. Zach was, and I will now that I know that you know, think of the children.
Some students are watching. That's great.
Think of the children. Steve
from Arkansas, Nicole, Dominic, the top aided from your local,
from the locals.
Caleb, Kieran, Renoa, Pete, Andrew, who we signed his frog play mat, Charlie and Bethany, who gave us extra tickets at the end of the event so that we could get more stuff to give away to people, which is amazing.
Exciting.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna love that. We're gonna get there.
Awesome. Eric on survival of the fittest that I played in one of my rounds, and then Eric and Alex, who we met at the very end of the event. They had those cool Hawaiian shirts.
And then all of the people that I met that I wish I had, like, you know, written names down, because like I feel like it was awesome that like almost every round, or like as I sat down, people around me, people were like, wait, I know your voice, you know, like that was super cool. I had people, you know, I signed a foil terminus this weekend. You know, I had, you know, fellow tryhards in the control sphere that were like, fight the good fight, man. I was like, you and I are both going 50-50 this weekend, as we always do. It was great. It was just great.
Big shout out to Sabrina, who I played in my fourth round, who was on Miracles and had no idea who Phil was.
Which is the correct way to do it. If you're going to play Miracles, the correct way to play Miracles is to have no idea who I am. Yeah. That's great.
But yeah, it was amazing to like, it's wild. It's so surreal. Because, you know, we're looking at our analytics and stuff, and it's all just numbers. And then when you get to an event and people come up and they're like, hey man, like I listen to you guys while I'm working out, or you know, that it's mind blowing to me that so many people listen to and watch the show. And it's truly humbling, because like, that's just, you don't get it until like you live it. And it's very humbling. And I gotta say, I really thank everybody for watching and making us a relevant podcast and the longest running one for Legacy. So it was just, there's not enough I can say positive about that experience. It really kept me going all weekend.
It was great to see like the microcosm of all of the people that are within our community, like being like, hey, what's up? It was just like, it was nice to know that we aren't just talking into the void, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so those are all the people that I remembered to write down. There were certainly more people that came up before I thought to like write everyone's names down. I'm going to try to do that better next year. I'm also going to try and start taking selfies, because I keep forgetting to do that. Like, then we could do like a collage at the end of the show or something like that. let's talk about vintage first. We're not going to go over your record specifically, but like, how did vintage feel to you?
The story of the weekend for me came in vintage. In round 2, I'm playing. This is my first time playing vintage. I was able to have power. Shout out to Roland, who let me borrow his
Friend of the
altered,
show.
his Klug altered ancestral recall, so that it would
Yep.
match so that way the power that I played would be altered. That was really cool to be able to do that, and to him to who knows what the value of his Klug altered ancestral is, probably $1 bajillion. So
At least a bajillion.
to essentially like volunteer it to me to play it was very kind of him, so I appreciate that. In round 2 of vintage, I was playing Glaring Fleshraker combo. Now Glaring Fleshraker, you will never catch me casting an Eldrazi ever again. The only reason that I was casting an Eldrazi was because my default for playing vintage was I am starting at a baseline of 4 Sensei's Divining Top in my deck. What deck can I play that is actually reasonably viable, that wants 4 Sensei's Divining Top? And the answer was Glaring Fleshraker combo. For those of you who don't know, you cast a Sensei's Divining Top, it makes a Scion. You cast a second Sensei's Divining Top, it makes another Scion. You then spin both tops, and each time you cast the other top, it makes another Scion, so you can go infinite, so you deal infinite damage with 2 tops. So the Glaring Fleshraker plus 2 tops is an infinite damage combo, and that was the deck that I was playing. And in round 2, I'm on the draw. My opponent goes land, Mox Emerald, Ancestral target himself. Now, mind you, as I am seeing him do this, my hand is blank, Mana Vault, Mana Vault, Glaring Fleshraker, Sensei's Divining Top, Mox Emerald. So I just have the actual 3-card combo plus the mana to do it. I have a turn 1 kill, but I fold to everything. I fold to any counter spell. I fold to any removal spell. I was playing against a guy named Rob, who was an awesome opponent and an awesome dude. He ended up afterwards, like, getting with the crew, and we all had dinner together, which was awesome.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
what the
Rob.
community can do.
Rob.
Yeah.
So
So we actually played in round 2. And he's a significantly better player than I am, like by leagues and bounds. After the match, we were talking about a bunch of lines where he was thinking leagues deeper. But I vintaged him and got our round. But it was great meeting him. But here's what happened. So I have the turn 1 combo rolled up, but I die to any interaction whatsoever. Removal spell, counter magic, doesn't matter. He goes land, Mox Emerald, Ancestral Recall. And I'm like, well, there's no way he main phases this Ancestral if he doesn't have some form of counter magic in his hand, because why would he ever do that? So I'm like, there's no way I win this game, but we didn't come here to not vintage people, so I'm going to full send. So he goes Ancestral, and I'm like, yep, that resolves. He draws his 3 cards, and then with his Mox Emerald, he taps it and casts Vexing Bauble. And he locks himself out of being able to play interaction, and I proceed to turn 1 kill him.
There you go.
And wow, did it feel good to actually do the vintaging, as one would say. But vintage was super awesome. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it would be great if Bowmaster didn't exist there either, because that I played against Bowmaster Frog Luris 5 times in those rounds, which it seems like that could maybe not be something that has to happen. But all in all, I think the vintage experience and the players and everything, it's just really sweet.
Yeah,
everybody,
it's a great community.
It's a great community. You only get to play so often. People obviously want to do well, but not in the same way where, like, they test and it's just like, oh, it's a flop otherwise. Like, Zach will tell you, I got a little salty after I went 50-50 across Legacy, and I was like, I really want to do better than this, but so it goes. But in Vintage, I went 4-5 and thought it was great. I can't wait to play Vintage again. What a blast Vintage is. And the fact that all of the rounds turned over really fast, quality control on Card Tartan's part. I thought Vintage was great, and I can't wait to do it again.
Big shout out to David Kaplan, David Tao, and Max Torsion, who ended up taking the event down.
He is the champion,
and we will have Max on the show next week, so that's going to be sick too. What were you just saying?
I say absolutely. Like, it is fun to know, like, as we get closer and closer, like, the community just grows and grows. But, like, then as everybody in the community starts to know each other over time, like, I feel like I had more friends top 8 both events than I've had in any, like, last year I had a couple people who top 8'd. This year I feel like I knew half of the top 8s of both events. Like, just the fact that, it's like the more people that you meet and every year that we go to these things, the more opportunities you have for your friends to top 8 and win these things, and that's just cool. That's just awesome.
Yeah, it's a blast. Yeah, so that was vintage. And then we go into legacy. We're gonna have some thoughts on legacy as a format. I think between the two of us in an upcoming episode. So I don't want to
I
go
think everybody does.
too deep into that. Yeah, dude. Today I had a tweet that has 57,000 views on it. I've
Your
never
best
had
performing
that much
tweet of all-
interaction on Twitter in my entire life.
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
and we're gonna
but-
we're gonna talk about that.
Yeah, we're gonna deep dive for sure, and I'm gonna say it here and now. I don't know if Phil can commit to all of it, but we're gonna be putting out an episode per weekday in December, as like a Vlogmas kind of special thing. So I have it almost scheduled out, but we are literally going to be putting out an episode, if we can stick to it, every day that is a weekday in December, which is quite a lift, but I think it'll be super fun. If you want to support us with on that to help move us along on that, you can go to our Patreon and whatnot and support us there for that. But the plan is to put all of our effort into December so that we can take a little bit of a break in the new year. A week break or something like that, and kind of recharge. But I really want to make sure that we're making content for everybody all through the Christmas season.
And I know because it's everybody's favorite time of year, but band announcement on December 16th. So everybody's gonna be hyped for that.
We've got some plans for that. We've got some special plans for that as well. We have. Let me just not pointing to the stuff that's not yet ready. I'll give you a couple of quick hits as far as things to look forward to. So we've got Max Torsion coming on. We've got Kelvin. Congratulations, who won the Legacy Legacy Championship event. So both champions on the show. Our general event reaction is going to come up, which we'll be talking about our particular situations and how we felt about the format. Then we'll have our format reaction and our thoughts on the Band Restricted announcement. Then we're going to have Honorog on. Honorog did all of the coverage for the event. So still keeping up with the Eternal Weekend theme for the first week of December, right into Eternal Weekend EU, right? So that you're going to get to keep watching Eternal content all weekend, the first week of December, right? Then we're going to look into some data, hopefully with a data guide that I've been checking out online. Then we want to do that episode where we ask all the content creators what they believe should be banned and what they believe Wizards will ban right before the ban announcement coming up at the end of that week. Then we have another interview with James from MTG Punks. Then we're going to do a quick holiday shopping for your Legacy player episode, which I think will be kind of fun. We've never done like a how to buy stuff, like things you can hand to your dad or your girlfriend or your mom to be like, here, this is good advice on how to shop for a Legacy player. Or it might be a meme. I don't know. It might be terrible advice for someone like that, but we're gonna try our hand in that. So then coming in on the 16th, that Monday is the band announcement. We got a reaction to the bands. We're going to try and get a special guest on the next day to have them react to the bands with us. Then we're going to do an episode about what the format looks like moving forward after the bands. MTG Remy has agreed to do our yearly tradition of having MTG Remy on the cast. We have a Christmas song that I have to make a video for. That is going to be a blast to do. We'll see if I can pull the video together in time, but at the very least, you will get the music. And Phil also has the Eternal Weekend music, which we will put up. Then I have a new Dan variant format that I am working on and should have ready by the end of the week, so that'll be on the 20th. Then we have the next week. I only have one episode written out for the next week. This will be the 23rd, and that will be getting into the format with your new holiday money. So if you're new to the format, here's how to get into the format. And that's what we've got going there. But back to Eternal Weekend, Phil.
So, side event wise, what did you play in side events?
So I played. I was only able to play 2 side events over the course of the 4 days because I played. I just missed the early bird special on Thursday because my flight landed 40 minutes later than it was supposed to. So
Yeah.
I narrowly missed that one. So I played the second one, and then we went. The people who were there went to dinner afterwards. So there was another late one, but I was like, also vintage was the next day. I don't want to be out too late. So
Yeah.
I only got to play one on Thursday. I went 2-1 there, losing to Eldrazi, and Eldrazi wasn't closed because of all the busted cards that they got. Just egregious shit. We'll talk about those in the band episode.
Yeah.
And then I played another challenge at the end of the 4 days on Sunday, which you also got to see some action of. And I went 1-1-1, but it looked like it was eventually going to be a 2-1. But again, my loss was to Eldrazi, just doing egregiously dumb, ridiculous
I watched
stuff
that match.
that should just not be legal to do in any format. And it's all broken and busted, and we have to like scratch like, I don't know, a dozen cards to like somehow solve this. But again, ban episode. But let me tell you, all the players throughout both challenges, man, what a delight! What an absolute delight!
Dude, every single person I played was just a gem of a human being.
Just an absolute gem. What I like, I like. Had you not gone to play any of the major events, like either the Vintage Championships or the Legacy Championships, and just side evented all weekend, you probably had the best time.
Everyone's just there to have a great time. Like
everybody's there to have a great time. They would everybody's like fun and curious about they're excited. They just want to be able to play these games, and for the most part, everybody's like got high spirits. It's just awesome. It was just awesome.
Yeah, this is the I was telling Phil, this is the Super Bowl for our community, and everyone comes out, has a good time. It's like Mardi Gras, but for like Magic nerds,
It really is. Like if there's a difference. Like we've gone to the Magic Cons. The Magic Cons are obviously EDH or Commander focused.
Yeah.
Whereas like Eternal Weekend is very much like if you play pre-modern or old school or Legacy, Vintage, like all that good stuff. Like if
you haven't been, you have to go. You have to go next year. Make your plans now.
Like if you are primarily a Commander player, like there's not going to be a lot of Commander at these events, right? They don't.
But there is some Commander at these events.
There is Commander, of course. There's CEDH, like of course, but like. If you play any of the Eternal formats, even Modern got a couple of nods. Like there was the Modern RCQ or regional qualifiers there. There was also a team trios event on Sunday. That was Modern
was them,
Legacy Vintage. So like if you just have like Eternal, like your group is just mostly Eternal players, and you want to play a team trios event, like there's a 5-round team trios event that they like looks like it got a lot of good traction, and will probably expand next year, hopefully. Like. It's just it's if you play the Eternal formats and you haven't gone to an Eternal Weekend yet, highly recommend that you prioritize it next year. It's just the coolest thing for anybody who plays any of the old formats and wants to scratch that itch in the best possible way.
So all of your side events were Legacy side events.
Both of my side events were Legacy side events. I was thinking of playing a Vintage side event before Vintage Champs to get in some amount of reps.
Just get some reps.
Just to see like, does this deck actually work the way I think it does in my head? Yeah. And what I learned was that I had a Karn and a Narset in my deck, and I just wish they were Ponders. But so it goes. But I just didn't. I was still sourcing. I only own half of my power so far. I'm on the lookout for the rest of my altered power. So if anybody out there sees altered Moxin or Time Walks or Ancestrals, you send those links my way. I am on the hunt for altered power. But I was sourcing half of my power, so I didn't want to source it for a side event since I was already doing that for the championships. So I just played more Legacy and got in some reps there. And I mean, outside of like the egregious power outlier offenders, which again we will get into in a separate episode, it was a delight.
While you're putting your feelers out there for things people should have you buy from them, I am in the market for Underground Seas. Just as a heads up, so if anybody is looking to get rid of Underground Seas at a decent price, let me know.
Let them know
below.
Comment below. Let this man play tempo again.
Yeah. I need to start playing tempo is what I learned. So my side events, I played in one Legacy side event. Actually, I played 2 Legacy side events where I met some really great people. I had a situation where like I got to play a really weird interaction that could only be played in that Legacy side event. But I did also get to play pre-modern for 2 events, and that was a blast. And I'm really hoping, I think we heard in the interview, that pre-modern might be featured a little bit more in upcoming Eternal Weekends. And you know what? It just feels right. It just feels like that's where that's another place that pre-modern belongs.
It feels super right. You played in the showdown, which it was its own. It sort of felt like it's like creeping towards its own championship.
Yeah.
It's like inching toward like a vintage championship, legacy championship, and pre-modern showdown. Like it's sort of getting to the point where
close.
it's like, I mean, the world championships, at least in North America, for pre-modern is undoubtedly LobsterCon. And anybody who's listening to this who plays pre-modern, go to LobsterCon. It is
Absolutely.
the best.
Yeah.
And you got to play Stasis, which is, I am jealous. But don't worry, we'll both be Stasis bros.
We'll see.
At LobsterCon next year. If you don't run Cab Bloom back, but pre-modern was great. I think that like if they expand on pre-modern, also the thing that I learned at Eternal Weekend is all the old school players. If you go onto any of the Discords where the old school players post their deck lists and just want to window shop, essentially, like you just see the most insane collections. Like we think that the vintage players rolling up are like the big high rollers in these rooms. Nah, dog. Nah. It's the old school players. The old school players, the ones rolling up with like full alpha sets of power, alpha duels, and they're just like, I'm here to cast Savannah Lions. It's great.
All right, so let's end the show with we're giving away all of the cards from this 2012 core set booster. Should I open it, or do we not open it?
I mean, I don't even know what the 22. This was just tickets that we got.
This was the leftover tickets that we got.
We literally went.
Let's crack it. Let's crack it.
We're cracking. Zach's cracking it.
We're gonna crack it. Everybody needs a little retail therapy here. So we've got a Chasm Drake. There's a Chasm Drake.
Just get straight to the rare, Zach. Nobody's here for the commons and uncommons in the core set. Just get to the action.
We've got this this Sapperling token. Here we go.
Sapperling tokens. Those are up now. Now that Shrewfist is a thing.
We got that. Someone's gonna win a Day of Judgment.
Well done. It's in Foundations, and now you can play it here as well. Congratulations to whoever wins that.
What I'll do for this, anyone who comments below. And I will sign all these cards. I'm not going to send them to Phil to have him sign them because then that's just going to add to the postage. But I will sign all these cards. Now, this Urza's Legacy pre-constructed deck, the Phyrexian Assault, an expert level thing. Here's how we're going to do this pre-con. Comment below. That is one entry. If you are a Patreon supporter, it's $1 per dollar is an entry, and I will randomize this, and we will find out on the next show who won it. But I'll give this over the weekend. We're only doing one show this week, just as we cool down from Eternal Weekend, and then we're going right into the holiday season. So somebody will win this whole thing. I will not open it; it is sealed. So you're just gonna get something very cool here, a little piece of Magic history. And I will mail that to you free of charge. All right. Unless you live in the non-United States and you win, then I might ask you to help me on shipping on this because we're going to give this away for free. And we spent all of our tickets on this. Again, thank you again to Charlie and Bethany who hooked us up with the tickets to make this happen. And from there, one last plea for Patreon support. If you can afford it and you'd like to help the show
Before you go, I need some help.
Please
subscribe to this channel and do your part to help sustain the legacy content ecosystem. Just subscribe to this channel goes a long way to reminding YouTube that people love and support this format. Now, if you really want to go the extra mile, you should think about supporting us through Patreon. Both the links for subscription and Patreon are right here. And if you're listening on an audio format, you can go to patreon.com/EternalDurdles. Thanks so much for watching.